Dools, today is our beginning. After a long wait, Ozark Season 3 is out. All the grime of the Ozark area with Marty Bird and Wendy Bird and all the other birds. We're here to watch it. Let's get into it. Dools, welcome to another episode of the Mall Cops on Duty podcast. How you doing?
I'm good, Haz. I'm good. Thanks for asking. Yeah, it's good to be here as always. I'm keen to get into the first of which I'm sure will be many little spin-off casts where we do a deep dive into a specific TV show / film. So yeah, very exciting.
Yep, so as we're both, diligently and responsibly working from home, we're cooperating with the lockdown, got a lot more time on our hands, so we thought, why not, number one, not only get back to the podcast, but give the people a little bit more content to try and get them through those long days at home.
I'm always thinking about those 2, maybe 3.5 people that are just waiting with bated breath for the next installment of the More Cops and Duty podcast. In fact, I'm so concerned about the state of Timo and what he did in those 2 months that were off the air. I mean, has anyone checked on him? I feel like we should have checked on him. Anyway,
we'll get someone out there. But Dools, one thing I didn't do on the last podcast that we did, the return. Let's say that there's an average Joe that just stumbles onto our podcast and has no idea what the Mall Cops on Duty is. Dools, tell them what they are. Tell them what it is.
Well, it seems to change every time we sit down and record it, but I would say, to that average Joe, the More Cops and Duty podcast is a film podcast, first and foremost. We'll dabble in some games, some TV, but first and foremost film. And, it's just you and me getting together over Google Hangout and hashing it out.
So we've got a schedule of Wednesday and Friday Sydney Eastern Time drops. So Wednesday we'll have our main show going through the news, reviews, or anything that popped up during the week, whatever that might be. Sorry, let me put down my sound.
So Sydney Eastern Time is there a specific time?
No.
No,
just finger in the wind. Finger in the wind.
Just whenever on that Wednesday or Friday, just subscribe so you don't need we're keeping you on your toes. We're keeping you sharp.
Absolutely. So Wednesday is going to be our main show. Main topic of the week it's mainly just going to be more discussion about everything, anything that's going on in the news. If there is anything in the news, as you did point out last episode, Dools,
I mean,
we're going to have a bit of a drought.
It seems like every week there's a delay. I think we can because the spin-off cast will be a deep dive into one. Maybe sometimes 2 if it makes sense, but typically 1, film or TV show. Maybe even we dedicate one to a game, who knows. But and we might even dedicate it to a director or something like that. But I think for the main show, we can still kind of be like, yeah, this is what we've been watching, playing.
Oh, absolutely.
There's just still a ton of shit out there. So, yeah.
Yeah, the main show is just what we usually do, Yeah.
It's
the normal conversation, a couple of guys.
There's another high-profile delay almost every week, so...
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I think the most recent being Black Widow, confirmed with a confirmed new release date in November.
And Last of Us Part 2, Dools.
That one stung.
But we will talk about that. We will talk about that bad boy in the main show that will come out on Wednesday. So, Dools, every Friday, this is a bit of an off release schedule, but from now on, every Friday after this, we're going to be dropping a review show. It's going to be a lot shorter than we'll see than the normal shows, but we just like to deep dive into a specific new show or new film or new game. I think a new game would be interesting as well. Maybe we could both do Resident Evil 3 and just completely review it and go through it point by point, what we liked, what we didn't like, where the show can go from. And we wanted to start off with Ozark Season 3.
Broken promises got consequences.
Things are gonna get ugly.
Sometimes I think you forget who you're talking to.
Your husband is in great danger.
I don't need to go in there.
We need to take Navarro down.
You lie to your wife. You lie to me. And you lie to yourself. What do you want?
Dools, are you a big fan of the Ozark series?
I am. So I pretty much started around the time season 2 came out, so maybe a little over a year ago, and so I binged one.
About 2 years ago now. It's been off the air for a while.
Really? Has it been? So maybe 18 months then. Nearly 2 years, yeah. So by the time I binged season 1, season 2 had just come out, and so it was great timing, and I just got right stuck into season 2, and I guess the wait doesn't feel that long just because there's so much to watch and whatever in between. But it has been quite a while. I think these Netflix shows have pretty lengthy production times. But yeah, no, I'm a huge fan. I think we'll get into it, and it's parallels with another famous show, Breaking Bad. I think it shares some similarities with. But for the most part, I just think it's a phenomenal show.
Awesome. Before we get into anything, I do want to say that this is your official spoiler warning. We're gonna have zero barriers in what we talk about today about Ozark season 3. So if you're not up to date with finished episode 10 of Ozark season 3, please don't listen to this, don't watch this. Come watch Ozark, as you definitely should do, and then come back and listen to this just to see what we think. I think that's enough, Dools. I reckon they've got enough warning.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Should we start off with the beginning, or should we start off with the end?
Oh my god! I mean, it feels like we're just going right for dessert, but I can't help it. I think we just got it. Yeah, and then we'll touch on the ending, and then we can kind of just then go back to the beginning and work our way through.
Sure. So the ending was, as you did allude to in our previous podcast, was mind blowing. Definitely mind blowing.
Did that spoil? So when I said that, did that creep back to the front of your mind in those last few moments? Or
so when you said that, I straight away was like, all right, well, it's ending on someone dying, like someone getting shot in the head. But I didn't expect it to be Helen. I actually expected it to be Wendy.
Wow, yeah, I actually thought they might go for the bold move of kind of having Wendy carry the show forward just because of how prominent she was this season and kill
That's
Marty.
what I thought. They were amping her up to it, right? And they're making her do all these massive decisions, like what they did with Ben, which we'll go through. Ben, I thought that was a phenomenal character, and all the backstabbing towards Marty, all the dreams of her killing Marty and stuff like that. And I thought they were amping her up to just get cut.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like that. But there was something you could tell Navarro had an affinity for her, and whether even amidst when he would snap at her and things like that. But I kind of suspected Wendy was safe. I thought, but Marty was another story. But then again, after I'm sure we'll talk about that episode, but the episode where he's been kidnapped and he's being held prisoner by Navarro and his gang. After the fact, he kind of admits that he has a begrudging respect for Marty, and so while I didn't see Helen being killed in the way that she was in those final moments, I kind of thought, I think they might be safe, the birds, but still shocking stuff.
But absolutely, I thought they were because my thinking was that they were putting in pieces and breadcrumbs to allude to that Wendy was going to be killed, and then Marty was going to be like, you have to do this, otherwise we're going to kill your kids now. Mainly what you said, that he admitted he had a begrudging respect about Marty, that he saw a lot of himself in Marty, but he's just a man that wants to win. That's what he said, right? He's a man that wants to win. And then the call with Wendy where he's just like, I own you. You're nothing to me. I own you. I thought that was all right, they're putting in breadcrumbs that to show the relationships that he has both between, the respect that he shows between Wendy and Marty. And right now, Wendy's starting to lower a bit with all the, the phone calls that she does to him and or the alluding that she's more than what she actually is to him.
Yeah, exactly. But it was incredible to see how it was almost like a switch was flipped. Like, you know, Wendy was taking Marty for granted in the first half of the season. Cut to him being kidnapped and taken prisoner by Navarro. The second he gets back, we see a very different Wendy. A Wendy who realizes we once saw a Wendy who was, you know, cocky and arrogant and almost thinking, oh, well, maybe I should be running the show. Maybe I could even be doing this on my own. Hence the dreams about killing Marty, because then you know, that's her living out her power fantasy. But then things start crumbling down around her. She's, you know, when even in those 48 hours or maybe 72 hours that Marty's missing, she's got Helen breathing down her neck. You know, she's not quite running the casino to the best of its extent, where it's like, yeah, I don't know how to do this. You know, what this specific task. This is always Marty's area of expertise. So when Marty does come back, Wendy is like, you can see how relieved she is, and you know, and but I think both Marty and Wendy learned about each other in this season, that they rely on each other more than they realize. And but yeah, so I think like we'll get into it, I'm sure. Absolutely. But it's going to be really fascinating to see where they take season 4. I think we're going to see a more united Marty and Wendy, as opposed to them being slightly divided in season 3. But they're going to have a far tougher competition and far more ruthless enemies.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd like to stop me. Sorry.
No.
No,
you go ahead.
Sorry, Dools. I want to start off with where we were basically finished at with season 2, right? So like Marty was stuck, right? He bought the casino to kind of prolong the inevitable that he was going to be killed and the whole family was going to be killed by the cartel. And he had that idea that he wanted to run away, and he really sold it into Wendy. And then at last minute, Wendy completely got sold into the casino and the idea to expand. And Wendy, that she thinks she can expand the business into a legitimate business, a legitimate legal business of hotels and casinos, right? And that's where she brought in Helen Pierce. I liked that this was the cold opening of this season. Was that with the bombing at the carnival?
Yes. Yeah, so I think whichever the rival gang was, yeah, it was them. Yep.
Laguna, yeah. The Laguna versus the Navarro cartel, which I liked that throughout the season, you could see that Wendy was like using to drive a wedge between her and Marty, because she used that as leverage with Navarro to be like, we can see if we can eliminate these people, this rival cartel, and used it to gain leverage in the whole game, which I thought was awesome. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think it was kind of like this proxy war happening in the background. Well, I mean, there was a literal war going on, but I think Wendy was using it to her benefit, you know, in the sense that whenever she would speak with Navarro personally, she would kind of like, you know, drop hints about like, well, you know, I mean, let's not forget you're engaged in this skirmish with another cartel at the moment, your number one rival, and you know, you can't afford to be doing this and that. You can't afford to be worrying about this and that. You know, just let Marty and I take care of it. You know, we've been taking care of this. You know, everything so far. Your assets. You know, blah blah blah. Just let us keep doing our jobs. That was something they nailed. Yeah. They nailed home, which is just that, you know, we have a job to do. You've hired us for a job. You know, just let us do our job. And yeah, so I think that's why we saw. Because you got Navarro, clearly not a moron, clearly a shrewd businessman, made the decision to kill Helen.
I kind of respect him.
Made the decision to kill Helen, you imagine, because, well, maybe she was the problem. Maybe, you know, things actually were going well before Helen came onto the scene. Marty and Wendy actually were doing a good job. They were getting shit done. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Navarro saw that. He's like, well, let's look at the wild card here. I think it's Helen Pierce.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved the relationship between Wendy and Helen throughout it. They started to become like a powerful allies. They bought that second casino, of course, which grew a lot of problems. But I still love that whole those negotiation scenes between Helen and Wendy in the opposing casino. They love to like run stuff behind the scenes of the cartel, and a bit like in the beginning it shows that Helen moving to the Ozarks in the very first or second episode. You can see that she's definitely becoming a main character. I thought Helen was awesome this season. I felt like she was a bit too overdone last season. Same with Darlene. I thought Darlene was a bit too overdone last season, but was done so much better this season. Same with Helen. Helen, you could see that she was desperate. And you saw Helen, and you got to meet Helen's vulnerabilities, which is her kids. And you could really just see that, like, this is, like, why Helen is doing all the ruthless acts that she is. Because in season 2, it really seemed like there was no motivation for her at all. And she's just like, all right, we're killing these people, that's it. And just like that, like, there's that one scene where she's interrogating some guy in season 2. I can't remember exactly who. But then she's like, don't worry, it's all over now. And walks away. And in the background, someone's getting suffocated. And you're like, how can you be this fucking cold and with zero motivation? Like I'm not buying into any of that. I wasn't really buying into her character. But then this season, when you meet, like, how desperately she's trying to win over her daughter, you're like, okay, I get it. I'm sold into Helen. That's why I really liked her this season. Did you like Helen?
Yeah, I think the daughter was a good plot device to kind of just, make Helen a more relatable character. But
more human as well. More human.
Humanize her a bit more, because she was just another cartel enforcer. She just appeared to be the successor to, I'm gonna forget his name, but whoever the main antagonist was in the first season. So yeah, I got to bring up though. You mentioned Darlene. I think so I was a bit confused as to why they brought her back into the fold, and then obviously it was a bit of a slow burn with her and Wyatt's arc, which there was definitely an interesting element to. But
yeah, did not see that coming.
So I wasn't really sold on why Darlene was brought back into the fold until the final episode, where it's like where it was obvious what they were doing with her, and there was a slow burn, and they were building her up to become a main player again, which of course she will be in season 4. And you also mentioned the second casino that Helen and Wendy brokered the purchasing of. So big, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something here, but a big plot hole I seem to think is them. So the last thing we see in regards to that casino is they also want to purchase the accompanying hotel, which the previous owners were holding on to, but then it seemed Wendy sat down with the husband, who's co-owner, and seemed to convince him that he needed to stop rolling over to his wife and letting his wife drive every decision. And then I don't know, the last thing we see is then he's going on that walk with his wife, accidentally knocks her over, she falls down this huge hill, bangs her head a bunch of times, clearly dies. And then we don't really hear or see anything else about that second casino or its hotel again, and they shutter it, and they don't use it for whatever reason.
They do use it. They do, because they can't use the first one. Every casino scene after that is in that second casino, because they can't use it, the first casino, because the roof of it blew up. Remember the Frank Cosgrove Jr. and the other guys from the Kansas City Mafia?
Yes, that was their competitor that they blew up. That was that other casino's competitor.
Right.
The original casino that they purchased, the very first one, that's where most of the season is set. Right. So that's what I'm saying. That second casino we never see again, or it's never mentioned again. Well,
that's a good point. Yeah.
The last time it's mentioned, because Marty, he saw the writing on the wall with it, had they went ahead with the purchase, which they did, is that the FBI will come down on them with a hammer, because it's like, well, then that's a huge red flag. You just buying another casino. And,
there wasn't communication there, because he knew that they would come down with a red flag, and he didn't say. Sorry, he didn't say it to them. And then they bought the second casino, and then they're like, oh, he's an FBI federal audit. And I was like, what the hell? Yeah, like, Marty could see that coming, but there was no communication. That was definitely a clause, absolutely. Do you want to touch on Ruth for a bit?
Yeah, I think, we have to.
Ruth is awesome. I loved like the start of it with Ruth and Wyatt's relationship, how she keeps trying to pay money for his school, doesn't accept it, obviously because she helped kill the uncles, which one of them was Wyatt's dad. And she now, after that, with her dad Cade getting killed by Nelson, wasn't it? Nelson's the hitman for the cartel, isn't it? Yeah. The hitman that ended up killing Ben. Nelson killed Cade, which is Ruth's dad, that she just went head and feet into the business and like became completely business focused until, of course, when she met Ben.
Yeah.
I thought she was awesome this season. I think she might be my favorite character. She had so many great one-liners in this season. My favorite one was like when the absolute war between her and Frank Cosgrove Jr., which I loved, where he parked in a disabled spot and she's walking away and she's like, don't park in the crippled spot. What you ain't got is a disability. It's just poor fucking judgment. I fucking clapped at that line. I thought it was awesome.
Ruth is great, and she's got a ton of awesome one-liners. I think, you said it, her rivalry with Frank Cosgrove Jr. is one of the highlights of the season. And it'll be interesting to see how their relationship with the mob develops moving forward, because obviously Marty's since cut ties with Frank, but I mean, I don't know, is the mob going to want, I don't know, maybe they'll get in with Darlene. I mean, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how it works. And
well, right now that's what we're led to believe, is that the mob will act as the distribution for the heroin.
Yeah. So I mean, so that actually literally does happen. Yeah, she has that meeting with Frank, despite shooting off his son's dick.
I loved how they set that up. She's like, we ain't got. She goes, nothing to do with the girl. He deserved it though, and you know it. Let's get to business. That's it. I was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. I'm like, that last episode with everything Darlene did. I'm like, I am so sold into her character. Like, I'm kind of on her side. I'm like not on the bird side at all anymore.
Well, I mean, yeah. So it'll be, I mean, whether she'll need to, align herself, quote unquote, with the birds, but have ulterior motives. It'll be interesting to see, or just go straight, just straight up go to war with them and become their rivals in season 4. I mean, yeah, it's. I think you can't really predict where this season will go. Like I couldn't see where season 3 was going to go. So they've just got the casino. Like, Marty was ready to bail out at the end of season 2. He was talking.
Yeah, he was ready to run.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had literally purchased, I think, fake passports and tickets to some island of Australia. I don't know. I think I vaguely remember something like that. And
that sounds right.
So he was ready to go. But I mean, we see a Marty Bird who's like fully enveloped in the day-to-day management of the casino, and so like I think
it was Hamilton Island.
Yeah, maybe.
Sorry to interrupt.
No. Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe. Yeah, Lord Howe. Who knows?
Yeah,
so many.
But
and so I thought that was funny how it's just like, well, now he's just like you could see him just legitimately running this casino. Like, there'd be sometimes Ruth would walk into a scene and Marty's just there, like, I don't know, like checking that the glasses are being cleaned properly by the wait staff. It's like he's just like, he's a legitimate manager of the place. I thought it was so funny. It's like he's just like, I mean, he's a drug runner, but he launders drug money, but at the same time, like, he's just got to make sure those glasses are clean.
I loved that scene because he's just like, you got to organize the 3 drops in the next couple of weeks of like $400,000, and also can you make sure that the champagne flutes are clean and that we get a couple extra staff up here doing the canapes.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
Get a few staff off kitchen rotation. We need him up here tonight.
Yeah, exactly. That was it.
So I thought that was funny. So it just seemed like he'd maybe in between the time, in between the ending of season 2 and the season 3 premiere, it just feels like, Wendy had just been like, all right, you're getting to work. Like, you're running a casino now. We're here. We're in this. Right? Just do it. But we still do see Marty. We still do see moments where Marty kind of cracks and just is like, okay, no, I do want to get out. So this is an interesting thing. I want to ask this of you. When Marty first approaches Maya, what's the last name? Is
Miller.
it Maya Miller? Yeah.
Maya Miller.
It always feels lazy when there's a alliterative last name for a character. What's her last name be? Miller. Maya Miller? Yeah, why not? All right.
Sounds like a superhero.
Yeah, like Marty Bird, Wendy Bird, just such random names, but they're believable.
Yeah.
Maya Miller sounds like a character. Anyway,
It does, yeah.
So when he approaches her at the was it the Speedball concert or whatever the fuck?
REO Speedwagon?
REO Speedwagon, yeah. Is that so? Yeah. That's a band name? I would know. Talking about that.
They're
no
like
idea what they were talking about.
They're like a country rock band in America. They're like super famous from like the 80s.
Oh really? So you
they're
heard
like,
of them
like
when they brought that up?
I don't know their music, but I know that REO Speedwagon is a band.
Well,
they're not as big, but they're like the Eagles.
Yeah, fair enough. So when they were mentioned, when they were in that concert and Marty kind of approaches Maya, do you think in this moment when he approaches her and was like, look, yeah, I'm interested in the deal, let's talk, about him becoming an FBI, just pretty much working for the FBI and taking 18 months jail, do you think he was being legit in that moment, or do you think that he was sowing the first seed for getting her to flip, which he said was his plan later on? What do you think?
I think it can go either way, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'd like to think that he was putting in the seeds to make her flip, but like at the same time, a month before that, he was ready to run away from the entire cartel.
See, I think in that specific moment he was, kind of being legit about taking the deal, but then to save face later on and to kind of win back Navarro's trust, he was like, look, I've got there's this FBI agent that's working our books who's doing the audit. I'm going to flip her. She's good. I'll get her on our side. That makes sense, yeah. So I think and then because Wendy brings it up later, because when Maya actually, I think there's a moment when Maya comes to the house, Marty isn't back yet, and he's still in Navarro's compound, and Wendy, she confronts Wendy, and Wendy's like, Wendy learns for the first time about the deal, and didn't
tell her.
Sorry, yeah, but kind of hides the fact that she didn't know, and
it's like, we discussed it.
Yeah, and like so, but then so when Marty gets back, she kind of just asks him about it, and she's like, yes, I know about the deal. Maya offered you, like, you were going to take it, weren't you? Like, you wanted to take it. And he kind of just, looks away and just kind of just ignores her. And so I think that tells me that, he did want to take it. But I think,
I believe you there.
Yeah. So I think but he does say it all the time, his goal is first and foremost to protect the family. And I don't know, maybe Wendy shifted her gears a bit. I think the death of Sam, which we'll get into, kind of shook her. But, Ben.
Death of Ben,
her brother.
Ben,
yeah.
Ben. I was like, who the fuck's Sam?
Yeah, I don't know. But I think, because in the first half of the season, we saw a power-hungry, greedy Wendy who was, definitely kind of like looking out for herself, looking out for. She could argue that she was looking out for her family, but it was definitely like for herself and for power. But I think I don't know. I think we're just seeing now it's like pure survival mentality on behalf of Wendy and Marty now. So yeah.
Absolutely. Should we get into what I think might be the best performance of the season, which is one Ben. Straight up, how much did you love his introduction as the substitute teacher? That's exactly how I imagine you as a substitute teacher.
Yeah,
One bad thing happens and he just takes every kid's phone.
I wanted to see the photo. Like, what do you think the photo was?
I don't know. Like, I thought it was going to be a bigger thing with the photo and stuff. But I don't know. It might have just been like a nude pic or something like that.
Yeah, wasn't that the most bizarre cold opening until he realised who he was? You're like, how the fuck is this going to tie into the show?
I loved that though. He just took every kid's phone. I love the line. He's like walking out to the wood chipper, and he's just like, "Fucking digital terrorists," and he like throws all the phones into there. And he just tackles the like landscaper and starts punching him. I thought he was awesome. I thought he was a phenomenal character. I loved the beginning where you start to get a feel of him, and he's hanging out with the kids. And he just really takes a big liking to Jonah. And he gives Jonah someone to actually, look up to, because I've got a point for this. I'll get to this more in depth later. But Marty is no longer human. He's not a dad, and he's not a father figure at all. So like Ben's the first person that Jonah can kind of look up to and get a connection with. You know what I mean? And then everything changes when he falls for Ruth. This is dot points of everything that happened with him. He first falls for Ruth. He then sees Marty get abducted at the REO Speedwagon concert, and after that he finds out about the cartel and everything with that. He falls more in love with Ruth and starts to do stuff with her, but he fails to. So he because of his medication, so he gets off the meds, and that's where things start to go downhill. He ruins a charity event and he gets committed. And through Darlene, he's able to get released with the help of Ruth. And then he goes to Helen's house and tells her daughter, everything. And that sealed his fate.
Yeah, and I think in that moment you could easily, I was surprised at how Helen's daughter was kind of like so trusting of, what he was saying in that moment. It's just like you could easily boil it down to just some nut. This is a dude who's just escaped a loony bin, literally, and is just spouting all this nonsense. But I think because she had been so distrusting of her mum for so long, and you kind of just see that in her behaviour and the way she talks to her mum, that she was just kind of waiting for that pin to drop and just like, well, something's not quite right here, and that was it. And so she just instantly believed everything that was being said, which again further solidified by I think Jonah and Charlotte kind of just being like, yeah, so her parents launder drug money. But I wonder if we'll I can't imagine we'll see her character again. I can't see any valid reason as to why they'd bring her back. Maybe, but
she was only used as an instrument for Helen. That's all that character was used for.
I think it could be crazy if, in passing, it's mentioned that, they had to take care of any loose ends on Helen's side, and it's just her ex and her 2 kids. It's just like, oh shit. Maybe that's something in season 4 that happens, but I think Ben was a great addition, and I don't know, I've seen some theories, rumors online that's just like, Wendy is clearly, she's been twisted and turned into a pretty kind of they both have, both Wendy and Marty, Marty's killed someone. Wendy technically, was in on it with Helen to get Cade, Ruth's dad killed. But would she really get her own brother killed? See, I'm not actually 100%. I'm not 100%. Off-screen deaths are always fishy to me, always. And I think until things are 100% confirmed, you should kind of look at them with a bit of suspicion. I think there's every chance that she convinced Nelson, who later kills Helen, by the way. So I think I think there's every chance that maybe off screen we've seen Wendy convince Navarro to let Ben live and kill Helen.
But she told Navarro that Ben's dead after it happened.
Oh shit, you're right. Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know. I mean,
I think I like your theory. I don't think there's any chance it's true.
Yeah, maybe. Point still stands. I think it's a possibility, and off-screen deaths in general, I always kind of look at it suspiciously. But I completely. Sorry, you are right. I think they did tell Navarro that.
Where he's just like, you want me to congratulate you for doing something that was necessary?
Yeah.
Thank you. It's just like, you're nothing to me. I own you. It was so good. Such a good conversation. I love Navarro.
I thought it was such a subtle but deliberate performance from the guy who portrayed Navarro. I think like he was perfect at portraying this kind of like, Escobar-esque, quiet but loud when he needed to be, drug lord, who just his demeanor itself was so menacing and terrifying.
Yeah,
and
I loved him. I thought he was great. That whole sequence of when they abducted Marty and then put him into that jail cell with the stadium lights and the screamo music. Dude, I was watching that scene for like, what was like 90 seconds, and I was already going insane. I was like, this is killing me. Can the scene end?
And the way he would just kind of like, walk past and be like, Marty, what do you want?
I thought it was such good question.
And Marty would kind of just be like, I don't understand the question. He's like, wrong answer. And
but they brought that back because when Ben was sitting with Wendy at that diner table before she left him, she's just like, Ben, what do you want? I was like, oh, so she's like turned, like she's like the cartel basically. She's absolutely. And then she asks the question, which she like completely regrets asking, like, what do you want in 5 years? He's just like, white picket fence, a house, a job, couple kids with Ruth.
See, again, that's another kind of point in my favour, at least in my opinion, that she asked him that and she wanted to hear the answer that would reassure her, and thinking that, well, I should give him a second chance. And yeah, I mean,
but why did she grieve by herself for so long? And like she was sitting in that car park, just smashing bottles of vodka.
I don't know. It could be a Luke Skywalker thing, because it would be like, oh, I came so close to doing it. Came so close to going to the dark side. But
true.
I don't know. No, I mean, look, if I had to put money on it, he's dead. But at the same time, I personally think they left it off screen in. Just in case. It's just like, well, we could maybe bring it back.
Right. So there's no official plan. There's like,
but I think
we'll see how the audience likes him.
Yeah, I think currently he is dead. But yeah, no, I think it is a show. I think, but again, it's like to bring him back though, because he was such a dominating presence this season, and he just doesn't fit in. Like he couldn't be a regular. He was like a whirlwind that came in and just fucked all this shit up and then just left a wreckage behind him. Like you can't just have that stay on as a regular. Like it would make the show so bizarre and unpredictable, and a bit tiring, because it's just like, well, there's got to be an episode where something fucking nuts doesn't happen, which I think the show actually does so well. Like sometimes there are just episodes where like, yeah, there might be a kind of like big thing to happen at the end of the episode, but it kind of meanders a bit, and it's definitely a bit of a slow burn show, but I always enjoy it just because I think the performances and the dialogue are so good.
Yeah, I agree.
So anything we haven't touched on, Has? I think Jonah and Charlotte were kind of sidelined this season. I don't think there's really much.
Yeah, I think Jonah's going to have a bit of a big part in next season, because you can see how fucking furious he is. He just hates his whole family except for Charlotte. I think we should end on like where we can see season 4 going.
Because of Charlotte.
Do you mean because of Sam? No, except of Charlotte.
Yeah, but do you think that's because of Sam? Because he obviously clearly suspects Wendy had a part to play in his death now.
Oh, Ben, yeah. Stop saying Sam, Dools.
What the fuck am I saying, Sam?
It's just another generic white name. It's fine. I reckon he's gonna have a pretty decent. He might even be the downfall. Who knows? Season 4, I reckon they're amping it up to be Ruth versus Marty, especially after the whole untouchable scenario, which I think is very much well set up, and they're definitely got. Right now, I think they're both the best characters of the show. Like Ruth is fantastic; her arc is phenomenal. Wendy, I think, is going a bit too much, and Marty's now finally knows his place of how to run everything. He keeps trying to act too hard, and he kept getting him to more and more little stipulations. But I reckon season 4, the main touch point will be Ruth and Marty.
Yeah, I agree, and I think, but like I mentioned earlier, I think the kind of friction between Wendy and Marty, I think, while there's still obviously going to be the squabbles here and there, I think that's largely been put to rest. I think. Because, that would just be retreading old ground. If it's just going to be another season of Wendy and Marty going back and forth fighting each other, because I think season 4 it's going to be them putting on a united front against Ruth and Darlene, I think it's going to be. I think it's the way they've set it up. I think it could be a really, really good season. So I'm sure we'll talk more Ozark in 2022.
Absolutely.
Like Dad said,
it's probably going
to be like 2 years from now when that season comes out, because so much shit's been delayed.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. They're little fun factors that they're filming the remake of Clue. They're not filming it yet. They're in pre-production, and Jason Bateman said he was offered a role in it and he had to turn it down because of production of Ozark. But now that everything's been delayed, he's like, in an interview, he's just like, I'm happy to do it, guys. Like, I thought he'd be awesome in Clue.
Wait. So he was anticipating the production of Ozark would clash, because they haven't even been renewed for season 4 yet.
No, their schedules of like pre-production and post-production. So post-production of Ozark and the pre-production of Clue. So they're still in pre-production and stuff.
Okay.
Of Clue, but that is
what would he be involved with post-production for, I wonder?
No, of Ozark.
Yeah.
He's a showrunner. Like he's there to approve everything, basically.
Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
He's not the showrunner. He directs a couple episodes, but he's
one of the main showrunners of Ozark.
He might be executive producing, but I don't know if he's heavily required in the post-production.
Pretty sure I read that he was the showrunner. Dools. Let me look it up. Yeah, executive producer Jason Bateman.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that got her off the ground in the first season.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I'm just trying to imagine how he wouldn't be able to do a film and do post-production at the same time. I mean, I don't know how. Well, I mean, I really have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
We should get Dools on the set to just sort all this shit out.
Jason Bateman, what are you actually doing with your time?
Yeah, exactly.
Doing? All right. Haz, you want to close this out, big dog?
Well, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the More Cops on Duty. You'll find us every week on Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday, our main show. Friday, our review show. I think this Friday coming up, where we've got a title in mind. Very, very energetic TV show, or not TV show, Netflix series, Tiger King Dools.
Have you started it yet?
Yeah, I'm 2 episodes in. It is batshit insane, and I can't wait to talk about it.
The craziness only escalates to ridiculous heights with each new episode. Yeah, it's fucking nuts. I think I've got 2 more. I might watch them in a bit.
Yeah, awesome. I'm gonna see how many I can get through today, and then you will be able to record during the week and get to the masses on Friday. But yeah, Wednesday our main show, Friday our review show. Till next time, please follow us on Instagram, because we should be able to get active now again. Dools, is that correct? Our head of social media.
I don't see why not.
Yeah, they're good work. No worries. Dools, where can they find us?
We're everywhere, man. Have you heard of the Google? We're on there. We're on the gram. We're on the Twitter. We're even on the YouTube. Well, are we on the YouTube?
We should be on the YouTube now, yeah.
We're on the YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, streaming services of your choice, podcast services of your choice. Take care. Peace and love.
Until next time, we're off duty.